Hello, people of the internet.
Yo.
I think we can just end the stream. I think we're finished. That's it. It's done.
See you next week.
You've just murdered us. I won't be surprised if the Great Firewall decides to just drop us from the internet at this point. Anyway, I am American McGee.
I'm Martin.
And we are coming to you live from the underground lair in Shanghai. I do believe that Lulu is right there. Is Lulu? Lulu. There she is. You saw her little head turn. So yeah, we are coming to you from Shanghai, China. As usual, we may experience some VPN interruptions, but we are recording and we will post this to YouTube as a backup after the live stream.
All right, sounds good.
What are we doing today, Martin?
The usual. Going to play some Madness Returns, look at some art. We're going to do some Patreon comments. We're going to talk about angry internet people.
Angry people on the internet. I don't think that's a very new topic. Aren't we giving away some prizes as well?
Are we? Let's do that.
Did you mention that?
Not yet.
Okay, well, every half hour, as is our routine around here, we're going to give away a prize. We did this last time. We gave away 4 of these because we usually stream for about 2 hours. And this week and the last time we streamed, we're giving away these new fancy Omega necklaces that have been redesigned and repackaged, and they're not actually available for sale yet. So if you win one, we'll give you instructions on how to claim it, and then you'll have to wait until the start of next month, which is the month of July. You'll have to wait until the start of July for these to start shipping out. But anyway, 4 of you lucky insane children will win one of these things today. I mean, you won't win like the 4 of you one that you have to share. I mean, you'll each win one, the 4 of you.
We're just so goddamn generous.
Anyway, who do we have in the chat here today?
Ooh.
I see a lot of our insane children.
Yeah, who have we got? There's Ghibli Girl, Truth Decay.
I see Wendy is here.
Silver Jinxed, Patient 322 is back. Got some new ones, have we?
We do. They're probably just here for the prizes.
Probably. Library Recluse? They were here last time.
Maybe. Someone says, what about Bad Day LA?
What about it?
What about it? It was a terrible game that is now politically maybe interesting commentary on the current situation in the US and elsewhere in the world, but we did talk about it last week, didn't we?
Yes.
Last time?
A little bit.
Yes. Anyway. So let's get right into it. I think we're going to start off with playing a bit of Madness Returns. Do you remember where we left off last time?
You were probably falling to your death.
Yeah, I'm always falling to my death. So we are going to start off a bit of Madness Returns. I did post something up on Patreon this morning. Did you see that?
Indeed, I did.
That I can't talk about. But if you're one of
our
mention
it anyway.
Well, if you're one of our patrons, you can go and read that post. It's a special. Uh-oh, what's happened here? Some kind of crap has popped up. Did you do that? Stop drinking.
I didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's a bit of news, and it got me out of bed this morning around 4:30 a.m. with excitement. And I mean, I understand that in the post itself, there's not much information, but believe me when I say that I was roused right out of bed.
Roused or aroused?
Wasn't aroused. Roused. Okay. Roused is the word you use to get up.
I know.
Okay, well...
Maybe you were aroused after reading the email.
You know, if you're going to be this kind of funny today, I think really we just stop right here. Is this an indication of the kind of terrible questions you're going to ask at prize time?
I've got some amazing questions lined up.
God. All right, so anyway, where are we? We are in Frozen Tundra world, and it seems that we've progressed along. Now, I'm not a big fan of these enemies. I think I said this last time, and it's all my fault, because I really struggle with the lock-on system in this game, which we also talk about quite a bit. But yeah, it's going to be the ice stuff, sliding around. Not a huge fan of, and then these enemies that sort of vanish under the ice and pop up again.
Right. Is this actually slidey? If you stop running, you'll continue?
Not here, but there's some sections later on that are.
Classic video game trope.
It is. Annoying also. Classically annoying video game trope. You know, every time we come back down here to play, I have to remember the controls all over again. I'm just not good at games.
Seem to be getting it.
I'm getting bent.
Well, get good at the same time.
Yeah, I'm trying. So who else do you see in our comments there, Martin?
Well, I am just going to pick out a comment I saw. I don't know if it's still there. It's the question we get a lot. Like, are you going to put Alice on Steam?
Oh, yeah.
But you probably saw the same news. Apparently, EA is just dumping a ton of games on Steam again these days.
Yes, which has caused a lot of people to write to me and say, you know, damn it, you bastard! This is part of the this is part of the whole like angry gamers on the internet thing that we were going to talk about today. So what I'm seeing is the news that EA is putting Alice onto Steam has caused a bunch of people to come at me and be like, what's wrong with you? You know, why isn't your game available on Steam? And here's the thing, whether or not EA decides to announce that news, it does not change the fact that they, not I, control when, how, where these things appear, and in what format, and the pricing, everything regarding publishing, because I know this is going to come as a shock to many of you listening, especially those of you that have been being angry at me. EA is the publisher of the Alice games. I'm the designer. I don't control what platforms and the pricing and availability and all that kind of stuff. I don't control that. So anyway, it's funny because the news of EA kind of opening up their catalog, it actually resulted in this flurry of comments of people getting angry at me because, hey, where's Alice? Damn it! You know, what's wrong with you? So yeah, I mean, I'll mention to my EA contacts and see if there's anything that can be done, but I can't promise anything, you know, because again, I don't control EA. But yeah, it's good news.
Yeah, so there you go. You've been told, all 75 of you.
Well, it's good news that they're opening up the catalog and that they're making these things more accessible.
Yeah, I did check. I had a look and saw if they'd done Alice yet, but no.
Well, I mean, and that is one of the big complaints. Alice was on Steam for a long time, and then it was removed, and people want to know, you know, why. Especially when they had it in their catalog, probably on an older account, and then that account they lost or whatever. And when they go back, they find that they can get Madness Returns, but they can't get the original Alice thing that was included with it. Right. So it causes a lot of frustration, and I really feel for people. I just don't have any control over it, you know.
Yeah, I'm getting that a lot these days with Zendesk stuff.
What are you getting? You're getting it with regards to the virus situation and global shipping of physical products, right?
Yeah, I mean, back in the day when this first started. But you know, we kind of had shipping troubles back in like March, April time. It actually was difficult to get the products out of China to actually get a shipping lane that worked. But now this works. The bottleneck for a vast majority of our customers, as far as I can tell, is USPS. Our items are getting shipped out super fast as usual, but then they're just sitting in a USPS warehouse.
What is USPS for those people who are not aware?
United States Postal Service.
Okay, so the things that we ship out, they originate in China, which is where we are. They these days go out quickly. They arrive on the U.S. shores. They also arrive in other countries, in the EU and other places where our customers are. The difference between what happens when they get to the EU and when they get to the US, though, is USPS.
Yeah.
United States Postal Service.
So yeah, as far as I'm aware, our stuff is just sitting in their warehouses, waiting for some worker to pick it up and scan it in and let it continue its journey.
Which, given the virus situation, isn't happening as fast because they probably have limited people working, limited staff. I mean, like, we ran into this problem with Canada, right, where suddenly Canada didn't want us sending tubes, which is a big impact on us because a lot of the products we send out are art prints. The art prints go in tubes, and when you dig down into the why of it, like, why doesn't Canada want tubes? The reason is because they switched over to using entirely automated package scanning so that people don't have to go into work, and tubes are not good for the package scanning device, right? Because the thing rolls around and the label, you can't see the label and whatever. So
yeah. So yeah, I mean, we've had a couple of people recently, and like you say, I get the complaints. You buy something, you want it to arrive. But it's just not, it's not cool when people direct their anger at us. And it's like, we shipped it. We put a label on it. It's gone. It's in your country. It's USPS for most of you.
So, but like Truth Decay is in the chat there right now, right? He's been a longtime supporter. He's got a valid question. That is, it's been 3 months since he's received anything. Should he be concerned? Do we know what country Truth Decay is in?
Canada.
He's in Canada.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you're in Canada, that's exactly the problem. Canada, what's going on here? Why am I going into that mode when I hit the lock-on button? It's really weird. So if you're in Canada, you are in a special zone as far as shipping is concerned because of what I just said. Canada blocked the shipment of tubes. Just straight up blocked the shipment of art prints and tubes. Now they've just fixed it. Is that right?
Yeah, they allow them now.
They allow them now. So that means that Truth Decay, your art prints that were previously delayed will now start to ship out again. And yeah. So.
But yeah, some of the art print tracking that I've been seeing recently, it's not good reading. I mean, it's like, this was shipped out in like February or March, and then the tracking dies until April, at which point it gets bounced around inside China for a month, before finally starting its journey in May. It's shipping chaos. That's the phrase I use a lot when talking to people. And yeah, so like you say, I get the anger, but sometimes it's not us that people need to be angry at.
Well, so this, I mean, let's just make sure. Somebody's yelling at me, use the hobby horse. You know, if this is your first time here watching me play my own game, yeah, I'm not good.
No, you are.
No, I'm not. I'm pretty terrible. Have you got any response to what we were just talking about before we move on to the next topic here?
About you being crap at this?
No, about this topic of delays, and was
just
Truth Decay's concern.
Yeah, like
addressed?
I just said, some of these prints, and I don't know if it's Canada specific, I've seen them, like I say, bounce around in China for a month plus before getting sent out.
But
truly.
Let's also be really clear about something. First of all, we send out hundreds. You know, there's months where we send out nearly 600 or 700 art prints in a month, right? I'd say that by and large, 99% of those things go through without a hitch, and also the people who are on the receiving end of those things, we never hear from them, they never hear from us, there's never any issues, and everybody's perfectly fine and happy, right? So I'd say, you know, it's worth pointing out that, hey, come on, how do I get around the corner here? I'm gonna fall.
Jump over to that.
You jump over there.
Do like a triple jump.
I don't think I can make that. If I die, it's absolutely your fault. Okay. Anyway, I think it is important to note that most of the time there's not an issue, and also most of the time when you tell people, hey, there's a delay due to this global pandemic, or something like that, they understand.
The vast amount understand.
Yeah. So no worries.
The vast amount. And in the weird realm of maybe it did get lost in the chaos, it fell behind somebody's sofa or whatever, we'll sort you out one way or another. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, if anything ever does get lost, we always send out replacements. So it's just hard to do these days when we too don't know exactly the status of some of these things, because it's hard when the delays become this long to know whether it's just delayed or it's actually genuinely lost. Now, I'd say that like of all the hundreds and thousands of things that we send out, it's a very small percentage that end up genuinely lost, that require a reshipment. It's very rare, whether it's via Mysterious or the stuff we send out via Patreon. Shipping is actually pretty reliable. So anyway,
and we do get messages from people sometimes just telling us, "Hey, my stuff came," which is nice to hear. So it's that's nice.
Yeah, there you go. Any comments over there, Martin? That is your job. I know it's hard. It's putting you off, to have to read the comments, but just give it a shot.
Well, somebody is wishing Patient 322 a happy birthday. So
Yay.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Patient 322.
Yeah. Notoriety. Whatever. Just wanted to reintroduce myself. Couldn't be at most of the streams, but looking forward to being active in Discord going forwards.
Wow, cool.
Okay. What else have we got? Oh yeah, apparently we did. Patient 322 said we sang Happy Birthday to them last year, I guess.
Well, happy birthday again, Patient 322.
But yeah, now people can't super chat us, so we're under no obligation to do what they say.
We're being pretty lazy about setting up or getting, what is it we have to do here on Twitch, like partner status or something in order to take chat. I don't know. I really don't know. And actually that's a pretty good, if you're done with the comments there, that might actually be a pretty good segue to the next topic about the few people that I've been messaging me yelling scam.
Well, let me just do this one from the little animals then, which is where they can contact us about a won prize and the shipping. Was 1 month ago. So yeah, support@mysterious.design. Send us a message. We'll get to it. There's a lot of messages coming in these days.
But as far as a prize, if you won a prize 1 month ago, then you're probably still gonna find that it's in transit. Because first of all, when you win a prize, we don't ship them out like that day. We normally, there's probably like a 1 week at least delay. Because we're manually handling those things a lot of times, and then you have to add another couple days for like local logistics, and then you add anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks for delivery, depending on where in the world you are, especially with the prizes, like, because a lot of times we're doing those by ourselves. So
yeah.
And if you won a prize last week and it was the Omega necklace, like I said, you're not going to get that until they actually start shipping for Mysterious, which is next month.
Yeah. Still, send us a message. Maybe I've got a tracking link I can give you. We'll see.
There you go. Jib it up, says somebody.
Jib it up.
Yes.
Yes, you were going to talk about angry people?
Well, yeah, so, I should probably stop myself from even looking at the comments. I shouldn't read the comments. But it's mainly on Facebook. On other platforms, people seem to be pretty good. But on the Alice Asylum Facebook page, for whatever reason, when I post, whoever is making trouble on Asylum's Facebook page, I blame you. So I make a point to cut out snippets of the updates that we post to Patreon and create special posts for the Alice Asylum page that contain little teasers of the content that's on Patreon. And to be clear, the content on Patreon, we make it early access for patrons, but then after 3 days it becomes freely available to everybody, right? So you don't have to be a patron in order to read that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm always surprised by some of the feedback that pops up on those comments on the posts, because it'll literally be something like, what's going on here? It's been, a year with no updates. And I'll think to myself, you're writing that comment on a literal update. Like, I don't know how to update you even further than the update that you're complaining on. But that's not the real problem. The real problem comes when I write something like that. I'll write, hey, listen, we do comments and updates and tons of content. Weekly, daily, tons of stuff gets posted. And it goes to Twitter, it goes to Twitch, it goes to Facebook, it goes to Instagram, it goes to every imaginable platform on the internet. And that they'll come back and get mad. Why are you being aggressive with me? This is a scam. And, one of the ones this morning, the guy was really upset. And he said, I shouldn't be expected to go to any of those other platforms to get this stuff that I'm asking for. I don't have to go to those platforms for anything else that I care about. So why should I have to go there for this? And I don't know what to say to stuff like that. And so, in that case, I said to the guy, look, for all of the energy you're investing in raging at me about this, couldn't you put that energy towards... Now you messed up. Couldn't you put that energy towards just going to Patreon and reading all of the free posts that are available?
Yeah.
So, my question to you, there's a couple of questions here. Is it appropriate to push back on these kinds of comments?
It's play it by ear. Generally speaking, I think you can tell from a person's reply whether they're just going to constantly double down or whether the argument, it's not really an argument, it's an explanation, is going to work. So generally, if you give somebody one reply and you're nice and you're descriptive and you explain the problem and they come back at you, I would think twice about putting any more energy into that person.
Well, here's the thing though. What do you do when somebody goes to your public Facebook page where, you're trying to build a community, where you're trying to post updates, and when you respond to somebody claiming that what you're doing is a scam, then they double down, they continue, screaming scam, and so, you don't engage with them, block them, ban them?
Well, your first reply should be a pleasant reply that explains how it's not a scam. So then anyone else reading it can see the reply. But I think getting involved in an internet argument that goes on for 5, 6, 7 replies, whatever, it's not good.
Yeah, I agree on the not arguing. I guess my point is when you get these kinds of negative comments where it riles up a bunch of other people and somebody's saying something along the lines of, there's no updates, for example. This really gets under my skin because they're literally posting something that's misinformation, that there are no updates, and they're doing it on an update, right?
Yeah.
So I want to counter that because I feel it's unfair to the people who come to find information to read that, hey, there's no updates. Well, I guess this is dead. Nobody's even responding to this guy saying that there's no updates. This page must be dead. This whole project must be dead. So you reply, but then they double down. Now what?
If they come back, it depends what they say. If they're really spreading more misinformation, maybe you just delete the post and block them.
Yeah, well, look, my usual response, and I think I'd like to make this clear to the people who come to that page looking for trouble. I'm gonna probably delete your comment and block you. I don't feel it's my responsibility as the creator of a product to suffer abuse. This is one of those things I see really often, is people saying, hey, I'm a big fan, how dare you talk to me like that? And I'm like, you bought my game. I'm not a massage therapist. I don't have to sit here and like rub your feet because you don't understand something or you're not willing to invest the time to read something, you know. So wow, hey, it was a fake out. You thought I was gonna die, but
did.
So yeah, I mean, I don't appreciate it. I don't like the toxic fandom thing. I don't like when people say things like, I'm a fan, how dare you talk to me like that, when what you're doing is irrational pushback to irrational negativity, right? So I don't know. I want people to be aware of that. I feel like it's, you know, fair game if you come along to one of our pages and you start off with aggression and then you just continue to double down. I don't want people to think that pulling the "Hey, I'm a fan" card is gonna make me say, "Oh man, never mind."
Let me have it.
I love abuse from my fans. I forgot that every time someone buys one of my games, they get a card that allows them to be abusive to me on the internet. That's right. I forgot all about that. Yeah. So anyway, that's that.
Generally speaking, though, the negative Nellies are the ones that shout the loudest on the internet, and I would hope that they are in the minority. So you would think that most people who go to a page and see an update, and then they see a comment from somebody who says, "There's no updates," you'd imagine the majority of people are in the common sense camp.
Well, yeah, and again, this is one of those things I want to call out, you know, especially our fans that are being cool. A lot of times they'll jump in there and they will respond to these threads where I don't have to do it, and they'll say, "Hey, you know, what the hell are you talking about? Like, this page gets updates, the Patreon gets an update every other every other day almost. You know, we post things to YouTube, Instagram gets updates, every other day." And I like to see that. I mean, that warms my heart when I see our fans jumping in there and just setting people straight. But anyway, sometimes I jump in there and I think I kind of shouldn't, but we don't have a community manager, so yeah, you get me or Martin. I think Martin, you're nicer than I am.
I'm generally nicer.
Yeah, well.
But Automod has held a message.
Is that like an Autobot, like a Decepticon?
See you next Tuesday. Posted lots of curse words.
Oh.
And it got moderated by Streamlabs, I guess.
I see. I think that person was writing what they would write to the person who's being non-productive on the internet.
Maybe.
You better come aboard.
All right.
What are you gonna do?
So what is the general consensus in the chat there?
Well, first, I have to tell you about the purple healing flowers.
Uh-huh.
Stay in them for longer to heal.
But
Don't
that
just
would
pop
be
in and out.
No, but that would be make things easier though.
I saw
You're doing it wrong. Play the game the right way, you twat.
saw a comment from someone earlier that says, yeah, give them a response, but if they continue to double down, ignore them. Some people said that we're allowed to push back. I think generally people are with us.
Well, this is one of the funny things is that a lot of game development teams, let's say majority of game development teams, publishers, marketing teams, they don't want to have this kind of visibility into the development of a game for this long and this early, partly for this very reason. Because people don't know how to deal with it. What you normally see of a game's development is the marketing blitz that takes place a few months before the release, and then that's it. You don't see how many years prior to the release of the game that the thing was underway, or how many slowdowns and cancellations and problems there were. You're just not privy to that stuff, and for good reason. I mean, a lot of people don't want to know about that. They don't want to see that. They just want the finished product. They want it now. They don't want any questions. They don't want any... Hey? Ooh, that looked like a little bit of a stutter there. So, I don't think that we are, as a consumer society, we're not well prepared or primed for the kind of process that we are engaged with our team right now. People just aren't used to that. They think a product should be finished, it should be packaged, I should get my marketing, I should consume it. That's that. The behind the scenes stuff, I think, is it's tough for people. For some people.
It is. See that a lot. Can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but even when developers who don't do like all this like pre-production with their fan base and whatever, they'll just announce something too early, and then like years down the line it just leads to rage.
Well, I mean, this is the common phrase in the games industry of vaporware, and there's certainly a huge list of games out there that they developed. I think Star Citizen is one that's become incredibly famous for this. It's even got its own sort of background detractor in the form of Derek Smart, who sort of takes it upon himself to document and highlight all of their sort of perceived missteps, and even going so far as to look up the price of the furniture in their office.
Remember that.
And in order to point out that there's a sort of misuse of funds going on, and that people should steer clear of this scam. And they're up to $300 million in development spending.
Investor money, so it's probably closer to 350, I heard.
Oh, really? Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So look, the industry's got its kind of record with this stuff. I don't blame people for being sensitive to the issue, but like as I said in the comments this morning, if we were to try to use the Patreon money that we're collecting right now to actually develop something as big as Madness Returns, I did the math. The money we're collecting right now would take us about 30 years. It'd take us about 30 years to fund what we did for Madness Returns. That's my way of saying that we put all the money we can that we collect towards artists. We've got a team of 8 people right now, and you do the math. How much does 8 people cost you? That money from Patreon goes to fund those guys and girls, and the art that comes out, you can see it. But Alice Madness Returns, by way of comparison, had an internal team of 80 plus another team of 200 plus people doing art outsourced production. So how many times does 8 go into 280? Come on, maths.
At least 4. That's my answer.
Anyway,
at least 4.
We don't have a giant team, so it's takes a little time. But there is progress, and that was the point of the Patreon post that I put up this morning. There is progress, and I feel positive about it. And as we've said before, at the moment where we stop feeling that there's positive movement, we'll call it out.
Let's hope and all touch woods and cross fingers that does not come that day.
There you go. All right. We are at contest time. What's your first dumb question, Martin?
10:30.
So for those of you who've never been here for this before, first off, every half hour we give away a prize. I just showed you the prize a moment ago. It's this insane Omega necklace, the new and revised version 2.
Should we do some down cam?
And you're going to point at it with the down camera. Now, we will mail this anywhere in the world for free to the winner. And all you've got to do is be active in the chat. So in order to make you active, we will ask a question. Focus. Now, Martin's going to ask the question. What's in the set anyway? So what's in the set is there's a print. It's that Red Queen print, which I've autographed. Can you see the little autograph on there? It's right there. It's very tiny.
Is it?
Oh, you're terrible at this, Martin.
Oh, there it is in the corner.
Oh, my God. And then there's a collector card, which I've also autographed. There's actually 2 autographs. I really think very highly of myself and my autographs, apparently. And then there's a necklace. Anyway, that's what you're going to win. What's the question, Martin?
Well, I suppose this kind of feeds in to game development that we were just talking about. PlayStation 5 design. Yay or nay? What are you thinking?
I've liked the memes where it looks like that Chad kid wearing a flip-up collar. Have you seen that one?
It's the guy from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Forget his name. Kaiba.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
pretty
Seto
good.
Kaiba.
So what's your question though?
The design of PlayStation 5 and everything around the reveal. Yay, nay, do you like it, do you not?
The
It's...
duck one is great. I like the taco one too. I don't care, you know.
It does look a little bit like a router, whatever you want to
Hell's
say.
a router. Anyway, I don't care, to be honest. I just play the games on it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. I think it looks all right. I wonder if it's going to age well. Like in a few years' time, is it just going to look like some cheap ass, oh, this is what we thought the future would look like?
Yeah. Well,
But,
I mean, I liked the PlayStation original designs, 1, 2, that chunky, very straight, you know, sort of industrial. 2. I loved 2. That was the black one with the very sexy lines. 3 was good. Yeah. I think the 4, which I've got sitting over there, is okay. It's very monolithic. It reminds me of the building in Blade Runner at the start there with the little... this feels a little... Nah, but I really don't care.
Have you seen the
Pope hat one? That's great.
Have you seen the size comparisons people have done?
No.
Based on the size of the disk drive,
right?
They've compared it to other consoles. It's immense. It's the biggest one ever.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. You know, these things have to be able to come out and compete with a high-end PC. It's all about turning electricity into bits, and it has to crank those electrons through.
Head and Shoulders. It kind of does look like it does.
It does look like that. Yeah, it's good. So yeah, some good stuff. Really good stuff. So what do we got in the comments?
Let's, say a prayer for my wallet at the end of the year.
What do you got in the comments there?
Oops. Discarded Dolls not even getting it. Jimmy the YOLO is agreeing on the size, as is Arcadia. Spyro the Dragon loving the memes.
This is a good one. The pieces of paper wrapped around a router.
Have you seen the one someone's got like a PlayStation 2 with a folder?
Yeah.
A binder wrapped around
That's
it.
good. I like this one. Looks like a coffee machine. That's fantastic. That is literally a coffee machine.
But you know, it's all marketing.
Well, it is.
Free marketing.
For sure. That's the thing that's great about these types of things is that...
As long as you can't, Photoshop it to be like a sex toy, I think Sony are fine.
Oh, come on. For sure someone made a sex toy out of this. For sure. I'm not even going to... All right. We're not even going to look. All right. Let's roll it. Let's see what Nightbot says.
Go on, then.
Okay. Where's the roll it button? Damn it. There it is. All right. It is Gone Bad Agnes. Congratulations, Gone Bad Agnes. You have won yourself an Omega necklace. So the routine is you've got to send an email to support@mysterious.design. Include your name, your phone number, your shipping address. Do all of that in a human-readable, non-frustration and anger-causing format. Just because you bought my game doesn't mean you can send me a crappily formatted address for your prize. And do all that within 24 hours or you forfeit your winnings. There you go.
Man,
congratulations.
Tough but
fair. That's us. Tough but fair. Be negative once, twice, 3 times, banned and kicked. So do you think we've beat that topic to death enough? The
angry people? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's not, I don't know, it's not really a question. The thing is, I genuinely feel bad about getting into those kinds of altercations because I feel for people, but at the same time, what gets me is I wish people wouldn't just constantly double down after you've said to them, hey, I hear your frustration, but look, here's a bunch of proof that your concern is, not a big deal, and I want them to be like, oh, hey, thanks for that. Instead, they're like, no!
You talked back to me!
Give me my foot rub! No! So anyway,
yeah,
maybe they're just trolling me.
Possibly, and that's another reason not to put too much energy into it after you've given one pleasant reply.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm not good at that, though. I'm not good at letting things go like that. I have an overactive sense of justice.
It's
So
tricky.
it's the Texan, it's the inner Texan in me coming out and being like, somebody poisoned the water well. Get over here. Who put a snake in my boot? You know, I mean, like, I just not. I have to find the scoundrels and hang them. So yeah. What are you doing? I don't want to LT that. I already LT'd that. Stop it. Leave me alone.
Oh, you've got to LT it again.
I did LT it. Dumb.
Dumb game.
It is a dumb game. Who built this dumb game?
Who knows?
Who knows?
What else is going on?
Now, underwater, we've talked about this a lot. So far, we don't really have an underwater section in Asylum. By the way, in a little while here, we are going to get to some Asylum stuff, like art and design stuff. But I'm not a big fan of underwater sections like swimming, which is why this particular underwater section is a sort of faux, you know, yeah, you're underwater, but you're actually able to just walk around.
Yeah, it's not the classic swimming and different controls and have an oxygen meter annoyance.
And I hate that stuff. It's really annoying. So I feel like something's wrong with the renderer. Some of these assets are showing up just black. Is it just our gamma's not adjusted correctly?
From this angle, there was a little texture on it.
I think the gamma's all effed up. Anyway.
Uh-oh. Somebody's talking about lag.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh!
Oh, we lost it.
It's happened.
All right. Well, let's
keep going for the YouTubers.
No, but we also we're gonna go and reset the router. Look, I don't think that this is good when this logs out. I think that's killing it somehow. It's just my crazy, it's just my crazy opinion. But I feel like somehow when this page logs out, we die. Is that right or wrong? Should I disconnect this? I'm gonna disconnect it.
Okay.
And I'm gonna reconnect it. And
It's not liking it.
not liking what?
That.
Oh, right. So yeah, for those of you on YouTube, we are just recording the stream, but what we're concerned about here is that our friends here on Twitch who are watching live have lost the stream. And we have all these dashboards and monitors here, but we also just see people in the chat freaking out and saying, hey, what's happened? You guys have gone away. So I was saying to Martin prior to this stream that we ought to just do like an intermission partway through the streams where we purposely we purposely disconnect the VPN and reconnect it.
Well, chat says we're back, but Glasswire does not.
Nah, it's coming back. I think it's coming back. Dropped frames detected. Looks like we're back.
Yay.
Yeah. So for those of you on Twitch, I think, come on, let's go. Looks like my test content here is working. We think we're back. Yeah.
The text, though. I mean, there's no way we're streaming at 40 kilobytes per second.
Right. What do you want me to do here?
Disconnect, go to a different server.
All right, here we go.
Go to the tried and trusted Los Angeles, perhaps?
Los Angeles Supercharged VIP. Come on, Astral. Get us back on the internet and over that great firewall. I'm always very curious if there's somebody in a office building somewhere that has a switch and that person just sits there watching our stream and like right when we're getting warmed up he goes click and
Possibly.
yeah. Okay.
That's...
Now we are streaming again. I feel like the problem is this is reconnecting. There it goes. Ah, back. Okay, we're back.
Are we?
Yeah, we
Woo!
should be back now. Yay. Damn it.
So yeah, you can, all our Twitch people, you can go and watch what happened for the last 3 minutes.
It was crazy.
When it's uploaded
Martin,
on YouTube.
I told you not to take your clothes off in the middle of a stream like that.
I just wanted to practice my dancing.
Just stop watching those Twitch like girls that take all that money from people. We don't even have monetization set up, so there's no point in getting naked, man. Come on.
It's only $5.
Yeah, well, it's only $5. I watched her. I don't mean I watched her. I watched that video you sent me of the guy talking about her, and she seemed really awful.
She seemed like a terrible person.
She really seemed like a terrible person.
Forget her name.
And, you know, one of the things that's really terrible about her is that she's got an obvious charm to her, right? But she's misusing it in such a terrible way that it ought to be a kind of embarrassment to all the charming women out there that and men. I mean, let's not be sexist about it, but yeah, I watched that. Who's the guy that you sent me on YouTube?
Drew Gooden.
Drew Gooden. Yeah, so I've started watching him now. He's quite funny.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Thank you for the recommendation there. Anyway, yeah, that dissection he did of the sort of Twitch beggars, I guess.
But like he said, generate a little outrage,
and then they get tons of new
massive
users.
New users, do a half-assed apology, and next week nobody cares.
This is true, and this is the way of the internet now, right? So when years and years ago, I was actually on a plane with the head of marketing from EA, and I was talking to him about my concept for something called disaster marketing, and it was exactly that. It was that, hey, you know, it costs a lot of money to do proper traditional marketing these days. Maybe we ought to be tying, you know, our press events and launches to manufacture disasters, because disasters get tons and tons of press. And he was like, no, you can't do that. Now, years later, I realized, so this guy, he was previously the press secretary for George W. Bush, the guy who took us into the Iraq invasion. And I realized that guy must have been sitting there going, hey, wait a second, this kid seems like he's onto us.
So what do we got here? Octo Chicken asks if I have an OnlyFans page. Maybe I should. Some new dancing. Back but laggy. It doesn't seem as good as it was, but it's
Well, we could force another shutdown. You know, like manually push another server, but I don't know if we really want to do that. What do you think?
I mean, where Truth Decay says no lag for them, so
yeah,
let's leave it.
This guy, I feel like this guy is gonna kill me. Who thinks this guy is gonna kill me with his bombs?
Me.
I do. Oh man, I forgot how you take these guys out. Do you remember, Martin? How do you
just kill them?
Yeah, that's really not helpful. All right, now is the part in the stream where you guys are smarter than me about how to play my own game. Please tell me how to defeat these bomb-throwing pirates. Because
Bailey
honestly,
says horse.
Everybody says horse about everything. Who said that?
Bailey.
Bailey, it's your fault. I blame you for my death.
Otaku, carry, shoot them.
Shoot them. That's that's incredible.
Shoot the bombs.
Incredible advice.
Shoot the bombs. That's better advice.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll give that a shot.
Let's see. If it doesn't work, ban them for bad advice.
Good idea.
I was the last one in the library the night of the fire. The log I added to the grate was dead when I went upstairs to bed.
So, for those of you not tuned into what we're doing on Patreon, again, the posts are free, so you don't have to be a patron to read that stuff. But we are working on some story stuff now. I'm doing that with Alex, and we're actually having a really good time. We're now through the stage of denial on our way to the Queen's domain and the Hatter's domain. And he and I have a bunch of kind of, I wouldn't call them secret, but they're private working documents where we're kind of making notes and coming up with ideas. We keep them private because it's a lot easier for me to brainstorm and write when I'm not sort of doing it in the public eye. And actually, Alex had asked that question. He'd said, hey, do we want to record the phone calls that we're having? They're not phone calls. We do Zoom, but whatever. I'm an old man. So do we want to record the calls that we're having and post the audio of that stuff to, for people to listen to? And I mentioned to him that that's difficult for me because I don't tend to be as free in my thinking when I know someone's listening, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so what's the tactic with these guys?
Wait until he appears,
And then
holding
what?
his bombs, and
and then shoot the
pepper pot
bombs
him.
while they're okay. Pepper Pot? Did you just say Pepper Pot?
Pepper
That's
grinder.
the character in Avengers. That's
No.
Tony Stark's
Murder.
girlfriend.
Murder his face.
He looks like kind of a Mick Jagger pirate. I think that's on purpose. I think we try to make him look like Tom Waits had sex with Mick Jagger, and this was their undersea pirate baby.
Quite a scary pirate picture on
What?
the wall
Why?
in
Don't
the
do
spicy
that.
office, wasn't there?
It was a fantastic piece of art. It was one of my favorite pieces of art in the office there. This guy's really not easy to kill. Go to Davy Jones' locker.
Oh no! Turned into a ghost.
Look, I'm stuck. I'm locked on to something that's not on the screen anymore. You see that? Look,
Huh.
I can't. See? This is that poopy lock-on mechanism. I bet there's a bunch of people out there right now. They're like, yeah, damn it, that bug got me too.
Send a message to
EA support.
They're the ones responsible for it. For now.
Anyway, yeah, so we are making good progress on the narrative stuff. And so if you're interested in that, and massive spoiler warnings, but if you're interested in that, now would be a good time to, tune in. Look, watch, I'm going to stay in the flower this time.
Yeah.
Anyway, now would be a good time to tune in if you're interested in narrative and story stuff, but be warned, there are massive spoilers going on these days. So.
Oh yeah, spoilers ahead.
Yeah, later on in this stream, there's going to be some pretty big spoilers. But we're having a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying the process of writing with Alex. I always write better when I'm writing with a partner. You know what I should do? I should just stay in this flower.
I was just gonna say this is it's a weird thing. It gives you full energy.
Why not?
But if it's just gonna do that anyway, why have
Make you
it
stay?
take 30 seconds?
All good things come to those who wait, Martin.
Oh, I get it.
That's why. It's to teach you patience. And clearly the people online who are raging at me about how long it's taking us to get Asylum done did not wait inside the frickin' flowers.
They did not. They jumped in, they got 1/4 of one rose energy, and then they were out.
Like me.
They were on their way.
Barrel Bottom.
Next to Bikini Bottom.
That sounds like the name of a bar in the Castro. I don't know. Doesn't it? Never mind. You probably don't get that joke.
I probably don't.
Oh, do you know where the Castro is? Look, I'm getting that bug
Is it
again.
in Cuba? Sounds Cuban.
Mark. Okay. So anyway,
Beneath this patina of civility.
we are working on the story. There's been a couple updates on that. There's going to be a lot more updates on that. In fact, Alex recently put up the sample script of the sort of opening of the game, and I think a lot of people reacted very, very positively to that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a read of it?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Busy!
That's basically no. You didn't read it.
The story part isn't my realm.
What is your realm?
Zendesk
I would have thought
these
that
days.
Font Lord would be like all over. Now, did you read the comments people had about the font?
Didn't.
Oh. What are you doing?
Zendesk.
Okay. Well, people did comment on the font. I don't know if many of you know this, but there's a reason why when you read scripts, they're always done in a font called Courier New. It's because that one page of script written in that font, it's called a monospace font. It means it displays at the same spacing no matter which characters you're typing. Like a period takes up as much space as a Q, for instance.
Right.
Anyway, it's done that way because oh god, oh no, oh da. Anyway, it's done that way because that gives you an ability to judge the number of minutes per page of script. And in that formatting and in that spacing, one page of script basically is equal to 1 minute of screen time. So
Right.
it's lock-on bug is really weird. So anyway, it's very, very useful for the sake of timing scenes and understanding the length of a film. So a script will usually end up being 90 pages long because most films are 90 minutes in length. Now, we had some people complaining on Patreon and said, I won't read this because that font hurts my eyes. And oh boy, you can't make people happy. Anyway, if you're not bothered by Courier New and you're not bothered by spoilers, go over and you can have a read of first opening section of the new game.
All right. What have we got here? Ooh. Here's a question from Alexander Harper. How did you come up with the achievements/trophies for this game? I was trying to get all of them, but there are too many collectibles.
I mean, we had a spreadsheet in the office, and as we were building the game, I remember we just, you know, anybody at any time could write concepts in there for the collectibles. We are told as a developer that we have to leverage that system, especially the online portion of it, where you post up that so and so has achieved certain levels of achievement. That's a really big deal for the publishers, Microsoft and Sony, because it means that they get free marketing from the people who are posting those things on social media. And so anyway, yeah, we had a giant spreadsheet, and you just would, if you were on the team, you just would go and type ideas in there.
Right.
And I came up with ideas, art director came up with ideas, programmers came up with ideas. Sometimes we, would request additional features or information to make collectible stuff available. If it was something special, that's gonna look at that. I don't trust you.
Kill it.
I don't remember the routine for getting that out of there. I think you dash across it. Is that right? Yeah, okay.
Excellent. Yeah, we've mentioned this before, but I like I like good trophies and achievements, not the ones which is like finish level 1, finish level 2. The boring stuff. I like when there's some like imagination behind it. Have a close call with 20 of this type of enemy, or stuff that makes you go out of your way to do something.
So we've talked about this before. I don't actually care that much about collectibles. I'm not a completionist. That's what you'd call it when it comes to games, and I know you are. So
I am.
You and I are very different in that respect. We're very different in that respect, and I don't mind coming up with them, but it's not my thing when I'm playing a game to lock on already. It's not my thing to mess around with them when I'm actually playing. Doesn't do much for me.
Yeah, I would say the difference though between collectibles and achievements.
Look at these. So these sailor guys have got a very clear bug with lock on. I think it's because their entities are disappearing from the entity list, that the lock on code is using.
Yep.
And then it's not it's not good. They disappear when you're locked onto them, and it ends up breaking the lock on mechanic. Very interesting. I'm surprised we missed that one.
What's a game you really loved recently?
Me?
Yeah,
you already know this.
Yeah, you
I like
quite
Days
enjoyed
Gone
Days
a
Dawn.
lot. Yeah, I like Days Dawn a lot.
Did you do a collector stuff on that, or were you still not even interested?
No, it doesn't matter if I love the game. I don't. That's not the point.
Right. I'm going through Dad of Boy again.
Oh yeah.
Just casually while I'm waiting for The Last of Us Part 2 tomorrow.
That looks
by the
good.
way.
I'm gonna play the shit out of that.
And yeah, I got like 98% of everything on there. I was like 60 hours in, and I was just burnt out. But yeah, Odin's Ravens, that collectible quest can just go suck up. You know what? I hated that.
So somebody says, I find it pretty overwhelming when it comes to collectibles and achievements. That's Salen Cosmica. Yeah, I agree too. I find that my focus on the game and the story is actually messed up quite a bit when I focus on collectibles, which is one of the reasons I don't do it, because I don't feel like in real life, I don't feel like there's a collectible mechanic. And when I feel that there's one and I'm sort of pushed to it in a game, it breaks the immersion for me.
So you would be happier with it if the collectible thing had good uses. It's not just collect some of this nonsense.
You're not understanding. Like,
say it again. I wasn't
look,
listening.
Money as a resource in a game is the definition of a collectible, okay? But it's a collectible that is integrated into the world and the story. It's a natural function of a place. And oh man, why did I do that? Oh geez, Rick. So that's something I don't mind. That's a collectible. I can deal with that. But when it's like, ride this horse, down this path 6 times. No, that bothered me in Red Dead Redemption. There was some asshat who popped up all the time. Like, hey, I'm faster than you, race me. And I'm like, no, get the F out of my way, you C-word. So anyway, by the way, we can't be lewd and rude on this because we're going to upload it to YouTube, and then they make me self-rate myself for content.
They do.
And then we featured like a picture of a big black dildo on one of these streams, and so I had to like go and check that we had sexually suggestive content. So I don't want to get in trouble anymore.
We'll be good.
I love this scene. I love music in a game. I've said before, I think it would be really cool to have a musical game.
I've said that.
We've both said that.
An actual game with musical interludes, just like a musical movie. It would be fantastic. And I know not a lot, but definitely these days, games tend to have like musical numbers in, at least one. Again, Days Dawn, when you were taking your favorite character ever to get healed. What was he called? Boozer. They had like a country and western type song as you were riding along. Yeah. Musicals in games. I would love that.
So this guy, the Carpenter, is one of my favorite characters in this game. And he has, I've said before, an interesting story behind him, because the animator that came up with him, Chris, himself was like an actor, ballet, really self-aware of his body and his movement, beautiful ability to translate his own movement and acting into the acting of the character on screen. And I'd never seen anything like that before. Our animators had mirrors on the walls like you would in a ballet studio, so they would get in front of the mirrors and they would act out things, and then they would go back to their desk and they would do this. And one of the things that's amazing to me is that this is a hand-animated character.
Is it?
Yeah! And it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. So he hand-animated this based on his own acting. It's incredible.
It is.
Now we do have motion capture in the game. It's what's on Alice. So she was all motion captured, and that's because there's just so many animations that it wouldn't make sense to try to hand animate her. But most of the animation in the game is hand animated, and one of the reasons is so many of the characters are so surreal. You're not going to motion capture an octopus, for instance. I mean, you could, but it'd be a little bit inky and bitey and difficult. So yeah. So anyway, Chris did a phenomenal job on animating that character, the Carpenter, and I'd like to see him make a comeback and maybe even Chris make a comeback to the team would be fantastic. So
Excellent.
you're about to tell me it's that time, aren't you?
It is. I just
right.
noticed it was 11 a.m.
All right, well, let's get to a good stopping point here. I'm in a black. I tell you, our gamma's all effed up. This isn't normal.
What's wrong from your perspective?
Well, this room is just black.
It's a dark room.
You're a dark room. All right, let's call it here.
Go on then.
And we're gonna do another. Now, do you have a question for?
I do.
I don't believe you.
It's a good one. It's not that good.
There's
Are we
not
ready?
There's not a save, is there? I always
Yeah,
have this problem.
We tried looking for that, but it just doesn't seem to exist.
I love that I don't know how my own game works. I just don't. There's no game and data, game difficulty. Why would you call it that, game and data, but then there's no data here? Where's the data? Dumb. I'm pretty sure it's just a gated autosave system.
I think it is.
I think so. All right. Bye-bye, game.
Bye.
I guess we can just leave it running in the background.
Probably.
Okay, so what's your dumb question? I mean, what's your question, Martin?
Came across this. I was watching a YouTube video a while ago. Thought it was quite funny. We've all seen Star Wars, and we're all familiar with the cantina scene and the shrimp-headed dudes.
You're not going to ask who shot first, are
Playing
you? That's a dumb.
that.
I mean, come on.
My question is, what is the style of music that the shrimp-headed dudes are playing? It's got an official name.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see if... I'm sure someone's going to get it.
All right.
Someone's going to nerd it up and know what the answer is, but...
Big band swing. Jizz whalers. Shrimp music. Jizz whaling. Snake jazz.
They've got it.
Snake jazz?
Jizz.
Jizz. It's
Yeah.
called jizz.
What's he called? George Lucas actually called it jizz.
Cool.
He was like, it's jazz, but it's space jazz, so it's jizz.
Wouldn't
It's
that
like-
be space jazz? If you smash those together, would still be jazz. Or
He just wanted to
spaz.
make the word jazz sound a bit different,
You know,
and he just came up with the word for spunk.
that's just not.
So,
That's stupid. Surely he knew what that. No, I mean, if you were gonna look, if I was gonna combine space and jazz, I'd come up with spaz, and that sounds like a good thing for them to be playing spaz. Well, yeah, Octo Chicken says great. Now it's gonna be marked as adult content stream again. Thanks, Martin.
It's not, though. It's the name of a music style. So, yeah, get bent.
Get bent, YouTube.
YouTube's algorithm.
Right. All right. Well, let's ask Nightbot who wins the jizz. It says there's no eligible users. Great.
Oh, jeez, Rick.
It seems that we lost our connection to Nightbot, so you guys are all going to have to spam it up there in the chat because otherwise you're not eligible. But starting now, please spam it up in the chat. Oh, jeez, Rick. Snake Jazz made me laugh. I thought that was really good.
That was a great episode.
Mm-hmm.
But it did break their rule about never doing time travel in the episode of Rick and Morty.
Which one? The space snakes?
Yeah. There was
He
time
did-
travel in that episode.
I guess there was, because he went back in time with the snake, and
So he's like,
But
I've got
it
to
wasn't
learn
Rick-
snake math.
but
so
it wasn't Rick that did it. It was
did.
Morty.
Because they wanted to go to the time machine, but the time machine wasn't built yet. So Rick has like, I've got to learn snake math so I can build this time machine. And then Rick from the future came back and gave him the book of snake math.
I see. All
So
right.
yeah, they broke their rule. There
Well.
is now time travel in Rick and Morty.
Interesting. There you go. I don't know.
Roll it!
I'm trying. I just can't find the Nightbot button. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. It's Wendy
Oh,
J.
Wendy J, well done.
Congratulations, Wendy. She didn't win the one last week, did she?
No, she
So-
hasn't won in a while.
Wendy, you have won the Nifty Difty Fancy Pants Omega Necklace, sure to send you into a wild, pointless rage of duckbill PlayStation 5-ness. It looks something like this, and I think you know the drill. Send an email to support, that's Martin, at mysterious.design. You do it.
Support at mysterious.design. Format your address pleasantly on each individual line. Stick your telephone number in there as well, and why not mention what you won? That's always helpful. And yes, we'll sort it out. Your Omega necklace will be shipped out some point in July.
That's correct.
And do this within 24 hours or you'll lose your stuff.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah, it's a... Wait a second. Did we say that it included the print? Oh, why am I doing that? It doesn't include the print. I've lost my mind. Anyway, you're just going to get the necklace. It doesn't come with the print. Sorry.
The print is for the crown
set,
set, isn't
it? Yeah,
it?
it's for that other set. Sorry about that. Okay, anyway, let's just gloss over that and pretend like it didn't happen. For sure, the internet will forget everything we just said. Okay.
You know how the internet forgets things.
Yes. Okay, here we go. Enough playing Madness Returns. Let's get into a bit of an update on Asylum. What do we have here, Martin?
It appears to be a picture of a young girl.
It is a 13-year-old Alice, in fact. She is the protagonist, the main character of Alice Asylum. And yeah, we kind of had a bit of exploration around the face previously, but we never really said, this is it, this is the face. And so that's why we've actually come back to it. And one of the reasons we've come back to it, why it's important now, is, well, one, we're really buckling down on pre-production, and her face, her shape, her body, all of those things will play a critical role in some of the decisions that we make going forward about game design. But we also have an opportunity these days to get a 3D model of a very high-res sort, like the kind you'd use on a PlayStation 5 game. We have an opportunity to get a model of this character made in 3D and delivered to us, and then we're also going to put her into a bit of a kind of a moving background. So anyway, there is an update about this over on Patreon. Again, keeping in mind this is open for the public to see for free, and there's quite a bit that I scribbled here.
Maybe not yet.
Well, maybe not yet, but it says right here unlocked. But anyway,
you're logged in.
Okay, Martin. You're going to go outside and Lulu's going to bite you in the face. So anyway, it will unlock after 3 days if it's not already unlocked. Are you happy now?
Yes, that's less confusing.
Great. I'm so happy that you're happy. So there is a big update over there on Patreon. I did go into some detail about the controversy that surrounded her face, and that was covered in the book, the Art of Alice Madness Returns book. We actually have the funny Chinese version there. Here, give that to me. So if you have this book, now this is the funky Chinese version of it, but if you have the book, there is a whole section in here where you can see this massive range. Try that down camera on this. Is it going to work? It's going to be too dark. Oh yeah, there it is. So like if you look at this, point at this one there. This was Ken and the art team. They were doing this kind of weird face melding stuff of all different kinds of Alice's, and they were look at like this one. Like really, there was a big push by Ken to try to have that be the face of Alice.
What the hell is that one in the
middle? Game. This was another one. I mean, these were not like mistakes or us being unclear about what she was going to look like. These were real attempts to define the look and feel of the character. Anyway, this process went on for...
Look at that one.
Yeah,
what the hell is going on in that middle
one?
Well,
that was trying to push towards a very realistic style. Like this one, very street urchin-y, very photographic, and you know, obviously this one not being very stylized, this one being heavily stylized. But I mean, to be honest, she would make a nice end table. I mean, you could put like a can of beer or a coffee mug or something on her head. Anyway, so the process last time around became incredibly frustrating, to the point where it was one of the few times where I just said enough. It got to be quite contentious, and I said, look, this needs to end. This exploration needs to end. Now, I have to say, this time around, when I said to the team, hey, we need to come up with the exemplar, the model, the standard for our 13-year-old Alice, Joey turned this around pretty quickly. Now, it helps that she had done previously something that I used as a reference, and I said to her, hey, I quite like this one, so start there. And so she did. She started from this as the sort of base. And so now we've got the face, and it's sort of roughly based off of this. We have the face. She's now going to move on to the body. And that's going to result in a short amount of time in us having an actual 3D model. High-res, high-density 3D model.
Would love to see that.
Now, you had some comments.
Pretty much every comment that I've got here is from this post.
I
don't know if you wanted to go through them now or later.
We don't have to go through them right now.
Okay.
We can come back to this, and we can come back to this post.
All right.
In case you're wondering, we do her without the hair, not because she met with V'ger. Do you get that reference?
I got that.
You got that. Okay. I don't know. $1 for anybody else who gets that reference. Anyway, she's done this way because we just need to see very clearly the shape of her head for modeling purposes, because the hair will be put onto the head dynamically at some later point, which was something that you see in Alice Madness Returns. It was actually one of the things that made Alice Madness Returns quite innovative in terms of technology and hair rendering. Like, it was very cutting edge back in the day.
It really was.
Yeah.
But we're going to push the boundary on tentacle rendering this time, we've said.
That is true. I can't wait till we get to the art for the primary enemies. So in the game, in Madness Returns, our primary enemies are the Ruin, those kind of black slimy doll part things. But we are now starting work on what will be the kind of cannon fodder reusable primary enemies in Asylum, and they are going to be a combination of fractal tentacles. I think. Yeah, so this was the picture I posted up across social media, along with some information about the decisions being made around the face. Again, I mean, this is the one where I got a couple of people saying, like, it's been 2 years and you're still working on her damn face. And I just was like, we never actually worked on this specifically. We held off. So yeah, we're just now working on her damn face. Get bent. But yeah, now we're going to move on to the body and locking the proportions for the body. Obviously, because she's a 13-year-old girl, the whole setup for proportions and scaling and everything is going to be quite different. So if you've ever worked on one of these types of projects or ever curious about it, we do actually go through and try to establish a style guide for the main character, for all the characters, but especially for the main character. We want a style guide because that then leads into everything else about dresses and costumes and weapons and hats and collectibles, and I mean, just literally anything and everything she can interact with has to be scaled off of her as the primary actor in the game. So
yeah. Sorry, I was just looking at the casual Viking. So, the fractals. Fractals and tentacles.
Oh yeah, I like fractals. Ooh.
Quite like that.
That's pretty all right. I like fractals.
Beware, the fractals are coming.
Yeah. Well, in the story of Asylum, the nature of the sort of threat against Alice's reality there is going to be chaos, the notion of chaos. And Alice is kind of stuck in the middle of this battle between chaos on the one end, which is threatening to destroy Wonderland, and the Queen of Hearts on the other, which she's the sort of arbiter of, or the main character representing order and rules. And so Alice gets stuck in the middle of this, and her adventure kind of revolves around trying to navigate this battle between chaos and order. And that whole thing starts here.
Okay.
Well, this is what we've been kind of working on for the denial stage. So denial is the first stage that Alice starts in, and it is essentially, it's her prison, but she's not really aware of the fact that she's in prison. If you go over, there's a recent Patreon post that has got the Tweedles, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. They are the sort of ringmasters of the circus. They have Alice in what you'd kind of call like a prison of the mind, like a soft prison of fun. And, well, you know, it is. She's distracted. She's having a good time. She's kind of kept from thinking about the reality of her situation. But at some point, she's going to steal a balloon, and she's going to make her escape. And we do have some stuff about why it's this particular moment. But this goes quite deep into the reveal about where Alice is. Again, spoiler warnings, because all of this stuff is taking place in the mind of adult Alice, and this is child Alice, or the representation of child Alice, who, because adult Alice has finally reached the end of her primary journey, it's now time for her to travel back and to rescue her child self. So this child self has been trapped in this denial reality for the whole period of time, while adult Alice has been off romping around, stabbing things in the face with a vorpal blade. So this is now triggered by adult Alice coming back and being like, right, let's get myself rescued from myself. And we're playing around with this idea that circus realm is on the back of a turtle, but it is on the back of the mock turtle. And then this whole realm itself will be very, very tiny, like in a drop of water, which is then inside like a pond. So you'll find that maybe the turtle is swimming around inside of a pond, and Alice is super tiny, but when she escapes, she's gonna get big, and then she's gonna find herself in the Queen's domain.
It's Octo Chicken. It's mock turtles all the way down. Yes,
well, he knows it. There is a sci-fi author, or was it? It's basically the attempt to explain the nature of the universe from a constructive manner, but basically you end up with infinite regression of, you know, turtles all the way down. I can't remember who exactly the quote came from, but yeah, that is kind of a reference to that. Now, Omri had written to say that he wanted it to be on the back of a crow, because he had mentioned that the turtles all the way down wasn't Michael Moorcock. It was a sci-fi author. Somebody will say it. Omri will get mad because he actually corrected me at one point. But anyway, there's a sci-fi or fantasy author. And so when I had said, let's do this on the back of the turtle, he was like, oh, you're ripping off so-and-so. Let's do it on the back of a crow. Then Terry Pratchett, there you go. Me being a literalist, I'm like, well, this is dumb. What happens when the bird flaps his wings? Like, the whole frickin' circus is going to fly off into space. I don't know. So, I don't know. I mean, trying to apply logic to something like this, I think it needs to be in a story style, something that fits. Now, I actually sent one more variation on this. Please load, yes. I sent one variation on this. I don't know how many of you follow Jordan Peterson, but he's got a fairly famous bit about lobsters, which has resulted in a lot of his fans, like they've got lobster shirts and lobster. Right. But the thing that he talks about lobsters is that when they encounter chaos and they lose a battle, their brains melt, and then they have to reform a brain for the lower level of sort of the hierarchy that they live in. And this goes to some of the alchemical stuff that we've wrapped into Alice Asylum, specifically the notion of solve et coagula, which means that you must, in order to form, you must first dissolve. So in other words, the phoenix rising from the ashes, right? Or in alchemy, it would be that you have to melt things down and combine them in order to get a new substance like gold out of the process. So as we were having this conversation about turtles and crows, and I thought, why not just let's stick the circus on the back of a lobster. But the funny thing is, I sent that to Alex, and he said, that kind of works.
Kind of does.
It kind of does. Like a giant space lobster.
I could almost even imagine, maybe this wouldn't happen, but go to the edge of that realm, look over the edge, you just see like giant lobster claws below you, or like the big segmented tail behind you.
Yeah. So Otaku Carrie says it looks like the thing from the Sinbad movie. Yeah, it does. I think a lot of people like the lobster.
I like the lobster.
Who says, Lord of the Dew says, okay, mine changed, make it on the back of the lobster. Anyway, so that's, yeah, I don't think we're going to go with the lobster, but the lobster's pretty funny. We'll see. Now, as they're working through Denial, this was a more finished piece of art that one of the artists did. This was by Dario, who is our artist who's based in Italy. This is actually inside the moon. So do you know the story about the moon?
That's what we said last time on the stream, that it's the warden of the prison of the mind with its lullabies and whatnot.
Yeah, so it's this sort of mechanical floating watchtower which will be manned by some card guards at these controls here. Now this is at a point where Alice has pulled a Grand Theft Auto routine on the thing, and she's got behind the controls, and she's now going to leave Denial. So you can see Denial here in the background beneath her, and that's where she's been imprisoned, and this moon has been being used to lullaby her to sleep anytime she's tried to escape. So we mentioned this before, like there's the old 1960s TV show called The Prisoner, where this big white globe comes and like abducts the guy back to where he's supposed to be every time he tries to escape. So a similar notion, every time Alice tries to escape Denial, the moon comes along and says nope and sings her to sleep and puts her back where she belongs. But not this time, Moon, because Alice is now at the controls. So this is a pretty cool illustration, though.
It is a good one. I like the viewpoints.
Yeah, Dario does really good work. I'm so glad that Omri found him and brought him on board, because he's just been doing phenomenal, amazing stuff. Very, very happy with that. So yeah, good progress getting done on the realm of Denial. In fact, we're practically done there. Like I said, we're now moving on to the Queen's Domain. This is a kind of background scene. Did we see this last stream?
We did not.
Okay. So you know that scene where like C3PO. Hello. Hi, what's your name? I'm 3PPO. You want to know why they call me that? Banned! Get out of the bar, you creep. No. Anyway, you know that scene in Star Wars, is it Return of the Jedi, where they go to visit Lando in the Cloud City, and then C3PO opens the door, and inside they're doing like robot torture, so it's the sort of first indication you get
that would be Empire.
That's Empire. Okay, sorry. So it's the first indication you get that something's wrong. 3PPO loves jizz. I think that's right. Jizz is probably 3PPO's favorite type of music. Anyway, so as Alice is making her way through the circus realm, we're going to have a scene that is somewhat like that, where she peeks behind the scenes. And by the way, you'll notice that all of these chess pieces, they're not real chess pieces. They're sort of like actors that are dressed up as chess pieces. And even the card guard here is not a real card guard. It's somebody who's in a card guard outfit. And all these characters are part of the circus. And so somebody's telling you not Empire Martin. I'm pretty sure that is Return of the Jedi, because it's the one in which he loses.
They did not go to Cloud City in Return of the Jedi.
Oh God. Let's see now. Which Star Wars?
Because Han is already in Carbonite at the beginning of Jedi.
City. Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, who said that?
Lots of wrong people, apparently.
Discarded doll. No wonder you were discarded. That's what you get for being wrong about Star Wars. Anyway, so this is going to be a scene where Alice stumbles upon the true reality, the true nature of Denial, that it's all kind of makeup and facsimile, and that there's a bit of brutality going on behind the scene. So yeah, I think that's a pretty cool illustration.
It is.
Now, yeah, what do you want to say?
I was going to say, I like the little guy's his legs dangling out from the bottom of his costume.
And there's Alice with a little bow going,
sneaky.
Oh, no. What's happening over there? Run away! C3PO, 3CPO, 3PPO. God. There's going to be a porn out there, I bet, called Star Wars and 3PPO.
We'll Google that after the stream.
So anyway, I did come up with like the super mega twist for the end of Asylum. I don't know if I should be giving that away. I kind of feel like Alex and I should... That's the one thing we should reserve forever until people play the game, because I don't think people really want to know that. It would mess it up the same way that if you were involved in all the work done on BioShock and then like you read about the whole would you kindly thing before you played the game, you'd be angry because well, not only would you be angry, but you would miss out on that magic. And I don't want people to miss out on the magic. So I think that I'm not going to talk about that.
Well, don't tell me either.
I'm not.
Don't let me miss out on the magic.
I'm not. So anyway, on to our designs for 3PPO.
So what part of 3PPO is that?
It's the 3 PPOs. Look, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
All 3 PPOs are there. Oh my God, this is not going to go well on YouTube. These are actually interior elements for Hatter Industries Moon Guard 3000 that Dario's working on. So that's a generic room in the Moon Guard 3000.
All right.
These are just kind of snippets and elements of the place that you will explore.
Look good though.
Yeah. Now he'd said something in a recent comment about like integrating a bunch of faces into various dials and gears and levers. I like that. I mean, when we were playing Madness Returns the other day, I pointed out that some of the designs of the machinery in the Hatter's mechanical like construction melting molten lava areas, they had face elements built into them. I thought that was pretty cool. So
yeah,
I think we're going to see more of that. Is that like a KKK guy? Why is he wearing a pointy hat? Oh, it's a card guard maybe.
Probably. That would make more sense.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Okay. His PPO is hanging out too.
It is.
All right. Anyway, so moving on. Now we have a bunch of art from Norm. He is continuing his study exploration of Alice and her movements.
She's busting some moves down at the club in these poses.
I think she's meant to be falling.
Ah, no, she's raving.
Maybe. Maybe the drugs have just kicked in. Oh, there we go. So this is her doing a dive. That image got me thinking, it would be kind of fun if she had a sort of portal ability where you could dive into what looked like solid surfaces.
Right.
You know, like if in a lot of places in the world you pressed like the shrink vision, we had that, but what if we just made it where portals were kind of around? I don't know where I'm trying to go with that. You know what I'm saying though?
Yeah, I think as a gameplay mechanic would be quite fun if she just sort of dived into like a portal, a hole in reality, and came out on the other side.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, seeing this, my initial reaction was not that she was diving into water. I don't know if that was Norm's intention, but when I look at this, my sense is that she's actually diving into solid physical matter, right?
Right.
And so it got me thinking, hey, that would actually, I don't know if I've ever seen that before, the ability of a character to kind of dive into matter. And I mean, Portal does it, but it does it by opening up a portal. What if, we made it where you could sort of cliff dive off of any cliff? Now, it could be that if it's not set up to go anywhere, you just go back to the top of the cliff. But if it is set up to go somewhere, you go there, right? You go to a secret room or you go to drugs or whatever. But
yeah, it's just sort of an extension of same old gameplay mechanic, isn't it? You see a wall that's a certain texture or a certain color, but you can't access the wall until you've got a certain power-up.
Yep.
Like claws that allow you to climb it.
Yep.
It would be the portal thing that would allow you to jump in the bottom of the wall and pop out of the top.
Something like that. Could be interesting. Anyway, this is her obviously doing a door open and a kind of peek inside. Now, look, just from a traditional sort of animation, sketching. I just love seeing this. It's just gorgeous. I mean,
I do like these sketch type doodads.
and he's so good at conveying just little bits. I mean, how much emotion did he manage to get into that finger? Like, hey, it's sort of a little pensive, and then once she's opened the door, it's like, yeah, okay.
A little hesitant, a little dainty.
Amazing. So those kinds of things will be translated into the model for her as a character. And I love seeing that because it's obvious that he's thinking about her as a character and her reactions and her emotions. Really, really nice. Again, more of the same, sort of pensive, hesitant opening of a portal. Got some running animation type stuff going on here.
Cool.
Yeah, so very good to see.
Spotted here, Lord of the Dew says, God, I miss super chats. Sounds like they've got something they want to say, but we're not seeing it pointed out.
I think if you at my name, it kind of highlights and we'll answer
a bunch
it.
Of people do that.
Go for it, Lord of the Dew. What's the question you've got? It is Twitch,
Something
and we don't have super chats.
Looking glass mechanic. Maybe they meant you dive into mirrors, perhaps.
Don't know.
Who knew?
But you do know what time it is, don't you?
Time
for
Omega necklace time.
It is time for another giveaway. So we're going to be giving away another Omega necklace. Here. So give away another Omega necklace. Again, these are in the Mysterious Shop, but they're not really out yet. We're still waiting to stock them. But it's like a whole new Mark II design. We've got like the fancy Mysterious logo on there. These are nickel, which has been plated with platinum. I don't know. When I heard that, I didn't believe it, but we asked the factory and they said, no, really, it's nickel plated platinum or something like that. Or no, not nickel, zinc. It's zinc plated platinum. Anyway, hopefully they don't cause your eyeballs to get allergic reactions.
Hope not.
So what's the question, Martin?
I only had 2 prepared today. Maybe you should come up with one.
Huh. Are you allergic to jewelry? Yes or no? What kind of thing are you allergic to? How about that?
Okay. For me, vegetables.
That's not an allergy, Martin.
There is actually one vegetable I've had in China, and I don't know what it's called. It's really bitter, and I had an allergic reaction to it. I went all blotchy and red. Other than that, just penicillin and MSG for me.
All right. Yeah, I'm not allergic to anything that I'm aware of. Although these days, as many of you know, I was suffering with these migraines, and we found out that it was because I had a slip disc. I got an MRI. Anyway, that's all getting much better now. I'm like, I can't believe how much better I'm sleeping and being now that it's been fixed. But what sets that off is sugar and alcohol. So I don't get to eat sweet stuff and I don't get to drink alcohol anymore. And let me tell you, that sucks. So what do we got? Aspirin.
Meds.
Like my head will explode.
Lactose intolerance.
Many people saying they're glad to hear I'm feeling better. Yeah, it was really scary. It was really starting to take its toll on me.
Grass.
My skin hates chocolate. Grass? Yeah, people have grass.
Grass. Tastes bad.
There you go. Love of Dragon says pollen. Yeah, I think a lot of people have. But I've read that the pollen allergies are actually more of a problem with the pollen combining with hydrocarbon offshoots, like things that are resultant from burning gas and diesel. And when those two things combine together and get into your system, that's what messes people really bad. So
see you next Tuesday. Allergic to salad. See, it's a thing.
That's dumb. That's dumb. Okay.
Are we rolling it?
Yeah, we are. Ready? 3, 2, 1. None ya business. I think that's Taylor.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. It's Taylor Join? Taylor Going. That's the word I'm looking for. Anyway, none ya business. You have won a Omega necklace. You need to do the thing. The thing is send an email to support@mysterious.design. Include your name, your address, your phone number. Do all of that in a format that does not cause us to have an allergic reaction when we try to put it into the system and send you your thing, and do that within 24 hours or else.
else.
Or else. Congratulations to None Your Business. Is that Taylor? Because that's what her little nickname was for a long time.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, Taylor, if that's you, say it.
I don't think she would cry at winning a prize, though, because she's won prizes in the past, so.
Who dat?
Swimming. Martin, can you swim?
I can swim.
Do you swim?
Not recently.
Well, this is Alice doing a swim. Looks like she's doing a little bit of a dog paddle. Yeah, front stroke. I don't even really know what that is.
Got some breaststroke going on there.
Is that a breaststroke? Anyway.
Sure.
So yeah, she's doing some swimming. Pretty good stuff there from Norm. A bit of a float.
Bit of treading water.
I like that. Kind of also would work if she was falling down the rabbit hole. This sort of float tread thing.
Yep.
Another one, this looks to be her walking in water. She looks kind of grumpy about it. Damn water. It's not easy to walk in water, so maybe that's why she's grumpy.
Just, you know what it's like being in wet clothes. It's really uncomfortable. So she's probably just not looking forwards to that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a really nice collection of these types of images now growing. Norm works through these. This is the moon. So we saw the control room before, and this is the thing that basically serves as, would you say her guard, her keeper?
Warden, I said earlier. That seems to be a good word.
Yeah, so this is the mechanical contraption built by Hatter. Now, keep in mind this is like a big, basically like a ship, floating up in the sky there. And behind the eyes there is that control room that we saw previously.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we wanted to have it be kind of obviously constructed, but also in some way fitting with the circus realm. And, it's Wonderland. So my hope is that kind of looks like the kind of thing that you would understand Alice wouldn't know is what it is. She just thinks it's a part of the scenery, a natural thing. And then it does the Men in Black thing to her. Anytime she tries to escape, it zaps her. She forgets that she tried to escape. Uh-oh, did we lose something? All right. And it takes her back to her prison. So we showed this off in previous streams. If you want to see sort of what her soft cage in the denial realm looks like, then it's in some previous streams. But yeah, this is her. Got her little denial dress on, and she's got the moon looking down over her.
I think that is one of my favorite dresses.
Denial
the
dress.
Yellow denial dress.
I see you wear it really often, and you wear it.
Suits me so well.
Yeah, you wear it really well.
Especially the burnt off back.
Now, if you didn't fart so much and light them, Martin, you wouldn't have that problem. Now, I have a question. I don't think I don't think that the eye makeup has been a constant feature in all the previous ones, and I'm not a giant fan of it. Do you remember it?
I don't remember it. Yeah, it's kind of unusual. Just Americans looking for the other moon images currently.
Don't tell them that. Continue to talk. Why don't you keep talking?
Is that sort of like the flick to the side of the makeup quite a feminine thing?
Okay, so
doing like eyeliner or
let's have a look. So this is our project software, project management software that we've got up and running. Thank you to Alex, and so our team works inside of here. This is, yeah, it's kind of got it. I just feel like it's become a lot thicker in. It's become a lot more obvious in the recent version. I also feel like his mouth has become a lot. There's a couple things off about this to me. The color of his lips has become much redder. This feels like it's become the eyeshadow stuff has become a bit thicker. Anyway, this is all a long way, Omri, of saying, and I said this on Monday actually, I'm not that big a fan of this sort of styling of it.
Right.
I liked it better when it was closer to this. This feels like it's a lot thinner application. The whole design feels a bit sharper. So
on that image that we're looking at right now, when the moon does its lullaby, the lower jaw just slides up and down. It sings.
Yeah.
That's gonna look creepy.
Tea Time with Hatter says Moon has too much guy liner.
It really does.
Guy liner is very funny. Too clownish, says Ghibli Girl. Yeah, I think a lot of people agree on this point. The eyeliner could, but then Pretty Jahoon says the eyeliner could help conceal the fact that it's mechanical. Could do. I don't know how far that has to go, but you'd think if you wanted to conceal that, you'd use concealer. But bump. Anyway.
Lord of the Dew, we saw your message. I even mentioned it.
What is it?
I was trying to say that instead of diving into the ground or anything, she dives into the looking glass.
Oh.
I think I said mirror.
Lord of the Dew has said that instead of diving into the ground, you dive into the looking glass. Great, we got it. Awesome. I was saying she dives in. That's fantastic. Done. Are we done? I think we're done. Good. All right. Now, I think we're done with everything that's in the art review folder. Let's just go through this really quick, make sure we haven't left anything out. And then you can move us on to questions. I think that's it. Posters, art, animation, lobsters with things on their back. That's probably about it. Now, there is a lot of work and art getting done. If you were kind of internal to our team, you'd go over to Monday and you'd find this is where we're outlining all the tasks that need to be done to get to the finished design Bible. This is where we have all these discussions about design. This was Alex did this sort of RoboCop moon. Did we show that off before?
We did not.
Oh, it's pretty funny. Yeah, so Alex turned him into this transformer that like a attack helicopter. I was not a fan of that. I said it's a fun idea, but no. The transformer-like conversion to a spinning blade attack helicopter thing. What is it? Is it a stealthy, extremely effective device for transporting Alice back to denial, or it is a multitasking attack helicopter? So
that LOCL says, "Oh man, that moon in the top right though." Whenever I see that image,
which one? This one?
The top right.
Oh, this one.
There's something of the Keith David about that face.
It also looks like the moon from the McDonald's commercials.
Does it?
Yeah, there's a moon in a McDonald's or a Burger King commercial. It looks very much like that.
Okay.
Art_0 says, "Did you ever finish Hellblade's Senua's Sacrifice?" No,
I never got past the opening cinematic.
I fell asleep in the opening cinematic. It didn't work for me. Yeah, just a really quick thing. I don't think that any of our doubters have probably got this far into this live stream, but if any of you are still out there that are sort of doubters about the work and whether or not what we're doing is a scam, man, we really put a lot of effort into this thing if it's a scam, because you can see page after page, sketch after sketch, conversation after conversation with the team about all of these things that are going to make up what this game is. And this, by the way, this list of all the work, I mean, it goes on and on and on through all of the realms of the game that we've got mapped out and all of the work that needs to be done. I don't know how else to convince people that, like, if you're supporting what we're doing, you're supporting something that's getting made. I mean, really, it's not
scam.
It's not a scam. If it's a scam, it's a really terrible one, because we're working really.
It is.
Really
we're spending all the money on production.
I don't know why we're doing that.
What a terrible scam.
Terrible scam. Oh, this is actually cool. I forgot to grab. Let's talk about this really quick. So, this is where we were having the conversation about enemies in the game, and I shared this with the team. I don't know if you saw this. It was a tweet where these guys did this thing of creation of an entity using fractal nonsense in a pool. Did you see this?
Did not.
It's very cool. So now, if you can imagine that we take this concept and we throw tentacles at it. And we have it so that, let's say there's 2 card guards in a scene, and then this tentacle fractal business comes and sort of hijacks them. And then you get tentacles kind of coming out of them and them being smashed together. That is something that we're talking about in that thread about what our enemy designs might look like. And this is super cool. I mean, this just goes on and on. The thing gets bigger and bigger and more complex.
Hypnotic. It's like
yeah.
Katamari Damacy.
It's
bigger
very,
and bigger.
very, very cool. So in terms of design for enemies in the game, and I don't know, there could be a lot of places where we use something like this. I mean, obviously, this even goes as far as something you could use for world building, right? But that's what's going on in this this thread right here. Like page after page of work towards what are these primary enemies going to be. I like this. This reminded me of the worms from Beetlejuice. Do you remember those?
Yeah, black and white worms.
Yeah, or like the sandworms from Dune. Kind of reminded me of that. But this is one of Jennifer's ideas. So yeah, this is just us kind of riffing back and forth on different ideas for what these enemies might look like. And then eventually we will get to a point where what you see here translates into final art of stuff like this that we can all then talk about. And yeah, so that's the process. That's the giant board of tasks and things that need to be done in order to get the design Bible finished. So there's quite
the board of scammage, as we call it.
There's quite a lot, huge amount of work going into the design Bible, start to finish. So yeah, anyway, there you go. Let's get into some questions, shall we?
All right. So this is going back to the Alice face post we looked at earlier.
Alice face. All right.
Alice face.
Let's get back to the Alice face.
All right. Lucky Dragon says, I don't think you're going to get much closer than this. Fortunately, you've already designed a fairly high-res Alice in Madness Returns. Just make that look younger. That's basically what Joey did. Personally, I think she nailed it. She did. You replied to that one. You said,
Yep.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, I do. And I said at the start of the stream, I was a bit surprised just because the process on Madness Returns was so damn painful. I'm really happy that Joey turned this in and that it works and it works for everybody. And I haven't really seen any negative comments, but I don't know. You've got some more comments there. Let's hear them.
Austin Cook, I think this is a perfect representation of younger Alice. Joey really outdid herself. Now just tune up everything to go around the face, clothes, hair, and facial expressions. I feel like a lot of her clothing doesn't match her emotional state or the age she is being portrayed.
I like Art_0's comment. He's about as good at scamming as he is playing his own games.
It's true.
If people online were attacking me for being a crappy player of my own games, I wouldn't mind it.
They are.
Yeah. Yeah, all of the kind of revisions we're going to see to this art going forward, they're also going to start to take place in the 3D model. So that's going to be quite exciting to see because there's only so far we can take this in 2D. And it's a really weird thing that happens when you start trying to shift to 3D because all the proportions and everything start to get kind of messed up in your mind, in your eye. We're reading a lot into this in our mind's eye, but when you start to try to 3D-ify this, there's going to be extra challenges involved. It'd be cool to see, though. Hey. And by the way, in terms of schedule, the guy we're talking to about building the model says it's going to take him about 1 month to build that model.
All right. Taylor Goen, I really think Joey nailed this one. She looks perfect.
Yep.
And from similar thing here from Cherry, I think she's perfect.
Cool.
Nicholas Frederick Wagner, the facial design is definitely okay in my opinion, but I don't think it's perfect yet. Contrast this Alice with the older ones in the previous games. She should be looking younger and more childlike here. I believe her cheeks could be drawn a bit fuller, i.e. more childlike.
That is a really good comment, and it's deserving of a little bit of conversation. We've talked about this in the past, and that is this question of, I said it to somebody on the call the other day. I want to be really careful that we don't sort of fetishize her as a 13-year-old girl. In other words, I don't want her to become an object of, I don't know if attraction is the right word, but I don't want to make her feel too young, because she is 13, but look, she's at the center of a pretty heavy drama, and she's going to be the main character of an M-rated game, and she's going to be out in front of the world, and don't want to sort of overly cute and innocent and young her up. I think there's a danger in there. Part of the danger is in the perception people will have of the type of game that we're trying to build, and also the kinds of environments and kind of interactions that it's appropriate to put her into. It's one thing if you say in writing or in the backstory that she's 13. It's another if you represent her as really small and young in art, because that's where you're going to get articles that set her side by side with some of the realities of her story or of the situations he's in. And all it takes, it's like a picture's 1,000 words, right? People will be like, oh my God, she's too young for that, right? And I want to be careful on that point. So I hear it, and I've actually been pushing to try to make her look a bit younger, but I want to, there's got to be some point where we say, all right, that's, close enough.
All right.
I don't know if that makes sense, but...
It does. Richard Horn says, looks great, could easily see her growing into Alice from Madness Returns. There's some other, I'll get to those comments. Gregory Parabek again. While any design chosen may not be 100% perfect, Alice to everyone, as long as she's mostly Alice to most of us, it will work out. So as long as she isn't outrageously out of the pre-established design norms, once you make your choice, we will all get used to it quite quickly, and it will become Alice. For this design specifically, my first gut takeaway is this can easily be Asylum's Alice.
Right. So Tea Time with Hatter makes a good comment. It says, don't mind how she looks, but she seems like she's too healthy to be in that state, maybe a bit more malnourished. One of the things to keep in mind, and I wrote this in one of the updates to the team, is that you're seeing Alice at the age of 13 through the mind's eye of Alice at the age of 21. It is an idealized representation of her inner child within the context of the mental landscape, which is Wonderland. And it's even sort of like a fractal shard of the mental landscape that's been walled off. It's what we're referring to as the snow globe. So the Alice that exists within that snow globe, this walled off section of her psyche, it's not real Alice. It's, if we took a snapshot of real 13-year-old Alice and put her next to this character in the game, they're not the same. I mean, how clearly do you remember exactly what you looked like as a 13-year-old? Yep. Did you have hair when you were 13, by the way?
Loads of golden flowing locks.
I just imagine you at age 13 with the same...
I looked like a Super Saiyan.
You look like her in the image there. So anyway, now I'm going to get flack for giving you a hard time. So anyway...
I think there's a comment about that basically says that all this comments about her looking, she should be malnourished. Yep. It's not the real world Alice.
Yeah, it's not.
So
now there will probably be a separate model, and it will have a slightly different representation that will be the thing we use in those flashbacks and moments where we're seeing her in the real world. And again, that's the same thing we did in Madness Returns. There was a model for Wonderland and there was a model for London, and they were not exactly the same. So that's yeah.
St. Thomas just looks great. I like everything about it, especially her eyes. Okay.
Ask Lepyos says, do you think her idealized self would change as she moves through the different realms? The answer to that is yes. That's something we've talked about, because as she moves through these realms, she's actually moving through these stages of, denial and anger and bargaining. These are all stages of overcoming grief. And one of the things that I want to do is not just have her update, but have very clear implications to, say, for instance, when she's in the realm of anger, I want there to be a lot of anger in the stuff that she does. And I want there to be a lot of bloodshed and unnecessary violence. And when you get through that zone, you're going to be like, Jesus, Rick, what the hell was going on there? So there's going to be implicit, obvious changes. And there may be some more subtle things going on as well, like in her facial expressions or her stance. Like, imagine if all of her idle animations when she's in anger have her with her fists clenched and her brow kind of furrowed, and then later on when she gets to bargaining, she opens up a bit. Maybe her palms of her hands are more exposed. She becomes more kind of open stance, right? So yes, that's a good question, and yes, that's something we have in mind.
Excellent. Shelby Finley, he just says, I love it. Excellent. Wiki, I like it, but maybe the eyes should be a bit smaller. She looks very anime-ish.
This comment came up in a couple of places, and I saw some people getting kind of actually angry about it. There was somebody who said, oh no, it looks like a Powerpuffs Girl. And somebody else saying, how dare you give her such big eyes? Why does everything have to be like anime? And people being angry on the internet. But look, that's part of her style from day one. The original Alice character had a funny kind of overly eggy shaped head, and she had big kind of almondy alien like eyes, and that's just who she is. That's what sets her apart. So you say don't make her eyes so big, I say get out of the kitchen. It's gonna be my new phrase from now online on Facebook. People give me grief, I'm gonna be like, get out of the kitchen.
Yeah, look forward to you using that.
Can that be my catchphrase from now on?
It could be. It's
not.
I
just confused
it's
people.
All right. It's not.
This is
it's
a
not
giant
Rick level catchphrase.
This is a giant scam. Get out of the kitchen.
Pekka says, I really like the picture. It captures Alice in Madness Returns pretty well. The bigger eyes, yet more softness in the shape of the face and such.
Right.
All right. Hody Reno, I think this take looks great. I don't know that it looks much younger than previous Alice's, but clearly resembles her. Oh yeah, and here. To me, if she's looking back at herself, it would definitely be an idealized and dramatic childlike form. She would probably see herself much more like the Alice seen in older pictures with her family. Rounder face, large eyes, smaller mouth, button nose, almost doll-like.
Yep.
Like an idealized version.
I mean, there's been so many different variations on the face. The thing on the screen right now, I don't know what happened with Joey when she did this. I think sometimes she just gets new brush sets for Photoshop, and then she did Das Alice portrait, and she even used this sort of faux German Euro font, and then the style is really harsh. Like the shadows, everything about it's really sharp,
It really is.
I don't know. There's times where our artists use these things almost like a test bed for their own expression or exploration. I mean, it's one of the reasons why it becomes important to just settle and say, look, we need to have the final model for what this is, who this character is, because there's a lot of variation that can pop out.
Yep.
Somebody says, actually, that's a good point. Pretty Jahoon says that style could be used for the anger area. That's right. That would actually make sense to have her kind of the personal lighting on her becomes a little starker, single point, and she looks a little more angry. Yeah, exactly. Great idea.
Yeah. Andriel, eyes are definitely too big, and maybe make them look less shadowed. If you want circles around her eyes, but it's too dark in my opinion. Looks too much like makeup. Other than that, I think she is perfect. Natasha Brandt, I think she looks pretty grown for 13. rounder, fuller cheeks and a less angled chin would look perfect. Then again, she just did go through a comatose state and doubt she was getting adequate nutrition. We kind of covered that.
Yeah, we covered that one. Lord of the Dew says, so face is final or no? It's 90% final. Like I said, there's going to be another cycle on this once we move to 3D. So I would say we all need to kind of reserve the heavier comments until the 3D pops up. And then when we have a 3D model of her, we may have space for some more changes at that time.
Okay. Austin Cook says, honestly, I think this shows how cool it is that each artist has a different representation of Alice as a character. Wouldn't it be amazing if all the artists got to tackle her various dresses with this face as their basis? We get all the artists to try different realms and emotions as dresses and allow them to show their own versions of Alice's wardrobe.
Could do.
If there was time.
Yeah.
And money.
Ray, Desert Phoenix says, see previous comment if possible. Not possible, Ray, because we don't have a scroll button there, so... Don't know what that comment was, but apologies. We don't have a super chat function, and I don't have a way to scroll back. So if it's super important, copy paste it, and I'll try to catch it next time around.
Right. Juan Romero. Ooh. Being honest, I am really tired of the huge eyes trend, which has been going for the last 15 plus years. I'd love to see a more interesting turn on Alice's face and not the ubiquitous childlike face with giant eyes.
Well, I mean, so this is what I'm saying.
She's got to look like Alice, though.
Well, I mean, this is what I'm saying. It's like, you know, that's who she is. And what do you want us to do? I mean, you want us to give her like tiny little pinprick eyeballs? Where are we going with this? I don't know. I mean, there's not a lot of options we have about this.
Maybe they want a middle ground somewhere between Will Smith and giant anime eyes.
That's Will Smith. I don't know. Get out of the kitchen.
Get out.
Get out of the kitchen.
Leone says, I think this is a beautiful, thoughtful illustration, including the dramatic eye look, which resembles a smoky eye even, but doesn't quite tip over to that impression. It's not what Alice truly looked like as a 13-year-old, it's what she felt like. And this feeling clouded over the actual looks of herself, especially the maladaptive daydreamer like Alice.
Like Silver Jinx says, make them bigger now. Just like a whole Cyclops, big eye.
There are anime pictures, aren't there, where the eyes literally take up like the whole head and there's like a tiny mouth underneath.
Yeah. Look, here's something just to understand is once we go to the 3D model, if the eyes are too big, if they're really genuinely too big, it will show up in the model and we'll back off from it. I remember that happened when we were working on Madness Returns. You know, we had these different sketches, and then once you did her up in 3D, she started looking really kind of freakish, and we backed off until she looked right. Things are very, very different when they're in 2D. So one of the reasons why I want to say, you know, we're probably 90% done here. But everybody's going to see these 2D images slightly differently. So, you know, we're going to push forward. We're going to get a 3D model made. And then, yeah, then we can decide, we can adjust. Get to a final version.
Yeah. If it looks too wrong, it's going to get thrown out the kitchen. Nancy Bryant, last one here. Well, coming from the standpoint of a concept artist in training...
That's always dangerous. I'd like to say, as a mom myself...
I would say making her head a bit smaller. And while I understand the point of doe eyes, I would say taking away the darkness around the eyes. As somebody mentioned above, it looks a bit more like makeup. Try to make her lips more bland and blended to the face, not with a red tint.
Okay, well... you know, fair enough. One of the things, though, is that a lot of times she's going to be seen at a distance, and if we take things like the tint and the makeup off of her face, they'll tend to blend in quite a bit in the game So there's a reason why we highlight things like that in these models. But, again, fair enough comment. Really happy we got the feedback. And the next step is simply going to be to make a 3D model. So when we got the 3D model, we'll be here on the live stream. There'll be like a spinning 3D magic head, and we can all talk about whether its eyes should be bigger or smaller and stuff like that. So there you go.
Is the 3D model just the head or the whole thing?
And we're getting the whole body, but right now we're talking about the head.
Okay.
Now, I want to say we totally forgot to mention our sponsors. Sorry about that, Andrew and Deborah. They did, in fact, update their page in the middle of the stream, it seems. And they recently had a very successful Kickstarter for In Search of Tomorrow. And now they've updated with their next big project is called In Search of Darkness Part 2. Now, In Search of Darkness Part 1, it was just called In Search of Darkness. That was all about horror movies and culture, especially from 80s, right? So everything from Poltergeist and Reanimator and all this kind of fun stuff. That was the feature of In Search of Darkness. It's basically like what would you describe it? Like an exploration of the culture of the 80s horror genres. What is your favorite 80s? I know what mine is immediately. Your favorite 80s horror movie?
Mentioning Poltergeist, that was good. The sequels, not so much. Phantasm? I always seem to... Was it Phantasm? The silver flying ball that stuck into your head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, the one that left a huge impact on me, it's literally scarred me because I snuck into it as a kid. I think I was like 10 or 11 years old, and I snuck in there. My mom had dropped me off to see like The Secret of Nim or I don't know, something really, cartoon Disney. And I snuck into John Carpenter's The Thing. And I was so terrified that I thought I was going to pee in my pants, and I couldn't get out of the seat because the theater was dark. And I'm like, there's going to be monsters on the floor. So I remember sitting there in the seat with like my legs tucked up. I was trying to not touch oh my God. So my mom came to pick me up. She's like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing.
That's not my mom. Her face is going to like explode open.
So anyway,
yes,
so yeah.
The Thing, also fantastic.
That's a good one. So Freaky Fandoms, they are our largest and longest running and biggest and best and most awesome and handsome and beautiful sponsors of all time. They do support what we do here along with all of our wonderful patrons. If you want to support us, but for some reason you don't want to support us on Patreon or I don't know, but go support them because they support us. You could do it just because you want to support them, and you could stop supporting us. I mean, just go watch their podcasts and see what they're doing in their kitchen. Or you could support both of us. It's up to you. We just want you to know that they're our sponsor, and we love them, and we love you. And there, I've done my thing. Yeah. You want to add anything? They're on SoundCloud, they're on Spotify, they're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, they're on Twitch.
Just go and give them some love.
Yeah.
Have a listen. There's tons of podcasts they've done now.
They even have a button here that says Asylum on it. What does that do?
Oh, God.
Wow. Welcome, Insane Children's. It's like a thing just for you insane children. Amazing.
Nice.
Very nice. Her eyes are too big, damn it. All right, so that's that.
There's Desert Phoenix's comment.
All right, what is Ray saying to us?
I mentioned earlier that instead of solid ground or mirrors, why not use a pool of tears? If Alice gets stuck somewhere or gets upset and starts crying, creates a pool for her to escape where she's stuck.
That's a great idea. So she can kind of like, on command, cry a portal into the world and then dive into her own
and really
tears.
Cartoony, like jets of water coming out.
I have that on my phone. Do you have that one? It's quite funny. I send that to Yen all the time when she's made me upset. I have this one with the little guy who cries. Can you even see that? See the little guy like with the tears? Give me the down cam. Down cam it. This is super important. Look what we're doing in the kitchen. There it is. Focus. There he is. Look at him. Look at him go. So basically Ray's idea is to have Alice do that whenever she needs to create a portal.
Apparently so.
Brilliant, Ray. I love it. Fantastic. You've just turned my favorite emoji into what's going to become like the portal killer.
I think so.
Valve's going to be like, why didn't we think of that? And then they're going to come out with a cheap copy where the hero like pees a puddle onto the floor and then dives into it. It's going to be called Peedle.
Peedle. Can't
All
wait
right.
to play that.
You can't wait till you get the 3 PPO
The 3 PPO version of Peedle.
upgrade. 3 PPO update.
Oh
Never mind.
God!
All right, let's do the last. Let's do the last thing. Last giveaway. Come on. What's the question?
How funny is 3 PPO? I don't know.
Oh man, 3 PPO in Peedle.
How would you create a portal in your game using bodily functions?
We've lost the internet.
Oh, it's back.
No, it's not.
It's there.
It's gone. I can see it there. Oh, there it is.
I'll say again. How
hurry
would
up.
you create a portal in your video game? You just using bodily functions.
All right, let's do it. Hurry up. Make some comments before the internet dies.
Oh, jeez, Rick.
I told you it's dying. Let's just. Can I roll it? There's like 30 eligible people in there right now. 29. Come on. Hit it. Become eligible. 3, 2, 1. All right, Silver Jinxed. You have won the contest. You know how to do the thing. It's support@mysterious.design. If the internet dies, yeah, sorry about that. But send an email, name, address, phone number, and in a format that doesn't cause lag. And then, yeah, we will send you your Omega necklace. All right, we did it. And the internet's kind of just alive. So, love you all. Do the thing. There is some stuff on my webpage about how to do the thing. It's AmericanMcGee.com. You can sign up over there for our mailing list. And there's Facebooks and Instagrams and all these places you can come rage at me for no fucking... Oh, so no point. And you can go to Patreon and you can buy stuff from Mysterious. Did I miss anything?
Those are the 4 mystical things.
Do the things.
So, yeah, look at it. Oh, let's wrap it up.
All right.
Jib it up.
Jib it up. Thank you so much. See you all again soon. And, yeah, have a nice weekend.
Yeah.
Wherever you are. Much love. Bye-bye. Get out of the kitchen. Get out of the kitchen now.